And we're back. What's up, everybody? Good to see you. Carolina Keith, regular Keith, Professor Keith, just Keith, can't stand Keith. Oh no, it's Keith. Hey, it's Keith. Good to see every one of you, no matter what you call me. I'm glad that you're here. We've got some developments to discuss. Some things changed a little, things got a little better. How much better? Well, up for debate still. Let's go check them out on the charts. Welcome to Crypto Before Dark. Please do us a solid. Go give us a like. Costs absolutely nothing to hit the like button, no matter whether you're watching on X, over there on X live streaming, whether you're watching on YouTube, where we started all this, or whether you're watching on our alternative platform, Rumble. Go give us a like or follow or subscribe or whatever you can, anywhere it goes. Why? Well, lots of this stuff is logarithmically driven and algorithmically decided. All right, so a computer decides, and then a log is taken, and then a scale is created, and then things are pushed out or kept quiet based on how often you guys hit the like button. So, for gosh sakes, go hit the like button. You know what I mean? What's it going to hurt? So, I've got some requests already. This is our Tuesday stream. Every Tuesday, we start off the same every time. We check Bitcoin first. We'll walk you through the liquidity levels here, kind of go through a little dabble down the market stream, see where we end up after we go through all these requests. All right? Perfect. So let me mute this. Go give us a like. Bam, there we go. I'm talking to myself. So annoying. What's up, Lee Roberts? Appreciate that, Matoshi. Appreciate that, Jeremy. If you're watching over on X, give us a repost, bro. It's free. It costs nothing to repost. I'm making sure all the streaming software is up and riding. Looks like it is. Looks like it is. So let's start with our liquidity levels first. We go through this week by week. What are liquidity levels? What am I even talking about? Well, essentially this market is driven by left-handed fighters and right-handed fighters, right? Left-handed fighters want the market to go down. Right-handed fighters want the market to go up. I'm left-handed. All right, so they want to fight each other constantly. Where would the knockout blows be? Well, those are the liquidity levels, all right? Those are the places where the knockouts happen, where you really sting them in the pocketbook, all right? For shorts, those levels are marked in red, clearly and easy, so you can see them right up here. That's at about 123.5. Right up here, that's at about 117-ish. Right up here where we just were a few hours ago at about 113. We wiped them and then they come right back, so they're not wiped yet. They're still fighting. And that's pretty much it for shorts for now. What about the longs? Where would they be in trouble at? Well, it's a little worse for them. Let's go through the numbers, all right? Going all the way back to when this first started running up here in July, right at the beginning of July. These are the two levels where the longs really piled in, all right? All the way down at 105 and some change and 107 and some change. Call it 105, 250, 107, 250. Those are our first two levels down here. You'll see we got very close. Not too long ago, right there at the end of the month, we got very, very close. And what was looking promising for the last couple days, we got a snapback reaction to this level right here. Not only is that a liquidation level, but it's very clearly resistance, which means a fight is being brewed at that level. And so far, the right-handed fighters, those wanting the price to go up, haven't won. So far, it's been a left-handed fight, left-handed battle. So more levels here are the problem. Once these didn't clear and the price did not come down through here and really stab these levels out, the liquidity stays. Right? You didn't run them off. You didn't scare them off enough, so they're still there. They're still coming back, fighting for more. Now, not only are these levels still active, but you got new levels up here where we also got reversals back in the upward direction. Those levels are at about 109.5 and about 110 flat. All right, two more liquidity levels that can be taken. All four of those right there are still in play. Why do I say they're still in play? Well, the daily chart tells me that. Here's the daily look. As you see, we've kind of done this same BS consolidation pattern that we've done a couple times this bull run. We did it back here. We did it for 6 months back here. It's the same BS pattern, right? Where it's kind of rockabye baby. really, really slow sideways and down removal of funds, but it's not a complete washout. It's more of a slow bleed, right? This is profit taking 101. This is people getting their money out because they see the market slow up or ease off, or AKA lose momentum. And it's really hard to get back on that momentum train once it starts to go the other direction. So what they like to do, they like to ride that momentum as far as they can until they hear the music start to slow down. That's kind of what it shows here, is that the music started to slow down a little bit and they started to bail. Fine. Once the liquidity was wiped, it's time to start playing the game, right? But there have been improvements. Yeah. We broke the AEMA a couple times in a row, didn't we? Yes, we did. Right there. You can see it plain as day. Right through here, we were battling that little squiggly green line right there. That's the 8 exponential moving average. But what you'll see is she rejected the 100 moving average. Wasn't too keen on that move to go any farther. She rejected so far. You can see right up here where it threw this wick right there through that liquidity level and didn't really not nuke them out much. They just came right back and piled in again. Bulls weren't quite strong enough to push the meter all the way to their side. All right, fine. So what's next? Well, so far, we're hanging on to the AEMA. So that's hopeful. The problem is we didn't push through the resistance when we hit it. Really need to see you push through this resistance and prove you're ready to fight, because until you push through it, I'm just expecting more weakness. You really got to have a strong punch to knock out the bears. They don't play easy. All right, I'm left-handed and I know that. I say this all the time, but back in the old days when I lived in a really bad place, I tell everybody so that I wouldn't have to fight all the time, because when you're a certain type of person in a certain type of place, you're isolated. And because of that, you need to know it and you need to prepare ahead of time and be like, look, anybody who fights me, you got to kill me. Okay? You better not just hit me. You better finish me, because if I get back up, it's going to be trouble. Well, neither one of them have knocked each other out yet. So a whole lot of jabs going on and no big knockout punches. We'll see if we get a knockout punch in the next little bit. I don't like this 50 moving average bearing down as aggressively as it is, but it does remain a target so long as it's up there, and I do think we're going to hit it again eventually, whether that's now or later. That's yet to be determined. All right. Step this out to the weekly. We actually closed a pretty decent week last week. This is a weekly comparison from 2016 to 2020 to now. I show this all the time. I'll drop the camera off so you can see it in the background. These runs are very much very, very similar to each other. They're not perfect. They're not carbon copies. Don't do that. But they are close, all right? They're very, very close, in fact. And so much so that we do need to recognize that it's still holding water even after it's flooded around a little bit. As you see, we're still flying pretty high. And I still left the dumbest people's posts right there so everyone can see it. Yeah, I'll make it a little bigger for the people in the back. There you go. Yep. I don't subscribe to stupidity like that. So I just prefer to make fun of it and let it remind me of how bad people can be at this, of how terrible people can suck at something and still get made out to be an expert. All right. So here's weekly. Let me step it out a bit so you can see by itself here. This is 2025 weekly chart. So once a week, you get a new candle. We're still in the wait a minute zone. We're still in between the 21 EMA and the 8 EMA. All this area in through here is the wait a minute zone. What does that mean we do? Well, we're just going to wait a minute until we see some kind of difference or some kind of change, shift in market culture. We got to wait. Now, it is no big secret that the 17th is coming up, and that's when rates will be either dropped or kept flat. All right. Recently, and this is worth talking about, all right? Recently, there was a jobs report revision done. The jobs report revision noted on that sheet that all of the previous year's wins from 2020, 2024, were gone. There were no new jobs. In fact, they lost jobs. It was all made up. Well, why does that matter? Whether it's true or not doesn't matter. The people in charge of the money have to make a decision. How do we spur growth? Well, you do that by cutting rates. You lower rates, more money gets lent out, more business is started, more people buy things, more workers continue to get hired, more people make more money goes into the system, more money goes into the bank, more money is loaned, and this big circle keeps going forever. Keep rates flat, all right? Good news about that is the other problem when you cut rates is you increase inflation. The more you buy, the more it starts to cost. That's just how this works. And if you don't understand that, price anything from 10 years ago. Not just because the cost went up, but because inflation is real. Some inflation is good. We've learned that around 2 to 2.5% inflation is fairly acceptable for the amount of turnover that we have. Fine. We're floating around that level now. And some people will say we're actually lower than that number based on a certain amount of time in their data sheet. More so, you get inflation when you cut rates. So you have to maintain it. If you keep rates flat, you're going to continue to push inflation down because people buy less, but that also stifles the economy, kind of chokes off the system. The last effect, which people are starting to notice now, job delinquencies, house delinquencies, where people are starting to default on their mortgages is going up. No new loans are being made like they should be being made. They're being flatlined essentially. The market is stagnated. And price houses remain all-time high. Why is this? Well, people who have good loans don't need to sell the house. They know they're going to get a higher rate on their next house because they're not possibly going to get the cheapest loan that they got back then. So they're going to have to pay more to get a new house. They'll just stay where they're at. The only people who can afford to pay for these houses are the people who relocate from areas of large wealth to areas of lower wealth. Where I'm at's an excellent example of this, all right? In case you didn't understand, where I live in upstate South Carolina here, this place is booming. Why? Well, it's cheap to live here. In fact, I was talking to one of my neighbors about it, and he was telling me the next county over is one of the cheapest counties in the area to still buy land and potentially build a house there and start your family. If that's the case, and he knows it, guess who else knows it? Everyone else in the world who's sick of living where they're living at, particularly in a certain few areas, who'd really like to relocate somewhere else that's cheaper to live, a little slower, and a little bit more friendly with less taxes. Ta-da! Enter South Carolina. All right, guess what? It's going to continue to get more expensive to live here because of that. Now, only a select few can choose to come here and live here like that. Most people who live here can't afford the increasingly high house prices that continue to get stacked on top of each other here. Now, your house value did go up, yes, but how are you going to afford the next one if you sell it? This stagnates the market. The way you fix this is you cut rates. When you cut rates, that brings down interest rates from home mortgages as well. And now that house that was too affordable suddenly slides down into the I can swing that category. All this to tell you, we're waiting on rate cuts. They still haven't happened yet. Will they happen? Poly Market gives it about a 78 to 80% chance. Y'all know that at Sniper's Alley here. That sounds like a pretty good shot. Add in the recent bad jobs report. They got to build some new jobs. Rates are a little bit too high on mortgages, stagnating the market. You got to bring down the rates on the market. How do you do that? You lower the Fed funds rate. They've already started to sell off their bonds as well. See what happens. They need cash. How do you get cash? Well, you put out some loans. Got to lower the rate first, though. Hope that made sense for everybody. All right. It's one of those ill side effects of dealing with this massive system that we've got. It's why I've talked about we need rate cuts to get this thing really kicked off and going, because a whole bunch of risks aren't being taken. Trade file, you're seeing some risk, yeah. But regular people can't take risk, and that's where a ton of the money is. They can't afford to take the risk. You're either low income or high income, unfortunately, right now in this economy. So where's the money going to come from? Exactly. There isn't any. You have to create it by cutting rates, right? Hopefully, Jerome's smart enough to start figuring this stuff out on his own. He doesn't have to hear from some internet idiot like me to say, hey, this isn't really that complicated of a formula. Write it down perhaps. If you have a TI-80 calculator, perhaps you can type in, what's the number if I do, let's see, it would be 7734. in your calculator and flip it upside down, because that's what you've got us living in, brother. Hell. And those of you who've never used the TI-80 calculator have no idea what I'm talking about. And I actually like it that way. All right. There's other ones you can do too. What's the other one? So it'd be 5, 3, 1, 8, 8, 0, 8 upside down on a TI-80 calculator. The things we used to have to do for entertainment, folks. Boy. Anyway, let me get back to the charts. That's fun no matter what. So here's total market cap 1, 2, and 3. You'll still see total market caps look fairly decent here because we're still seeing an inflow of money. It's just not that big, massive volume push that we might want to see elsewhere. You know what I mean? We're seeing like a nominal amount of volume come in. We want to see heavy volume, because that heavy volume really, really gets the masses going, right? Gets the people going. If you remember that from Blades of Steel, or Blades of Glory, not Blades of Steel. That's terrible, Keith. Blades of Glory. We need a volume push to get moving. We haven't had it yet. Perhaps we get a rate cut on the 17th, and perhaps it's more than a quarter point. Maybe it's a half point. What would really be a stunner if it just kept the rates flat. Boy, would that be an absolute straight to the freaking nose, bust your face wide open kind of punch in the mouth. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Total market cap's not terrible. I need to see a little bit more push here. Here's our big monthly fractal from all 4 of the bull markets that we've ever had for crypto in general. We're still playing around with the parabola over here. 21 days to go. So far, so good. Still not much unchanged on this one. I'm still monitoring it closely, and if something changes, I'm happy to tell everyone. Bitcoin dominance continues to fall off little by little. However, we haven't seen that big push from all the altcoins. We've just seen a push from some of them. My hope is we really start to skedaddle down here, which means go fast in Southern. I hope that happens in the next little bit here, because that really moves the needle for everyone if we can get that going. Obviously, you see the fall off that we had both prior times. We had halvings, we had big sell-offs. Right there's the last halving. You can see the big sell-off we had after halving. And then this here was the previous halving that we just had. Last bull run, big halving sell-off. Here's our halving now. Drop the camera, you can see it there. And we just haven't had that big massive sell-off yet. I'm hopeful it comes. I don't have any control if it doesn't. All right, sweet. Let's get into some of the requests that we got. Fair enough. Let's start with Zillow. This was asked by someone in our Discord. I forget who it was, and I'm sorry. Let me look it up real fast. I'll give you props. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. All right, so that was from SoCal Res or Socal Res. I don't know which one it is. I think it's SoCal Res. Whatever. Appreciate the Zillow shout, and we'll do AVAX as well. But let's start with Zilla. So it's overall the moving averages. I'm going to drop those off because we don't need them. And let's start out on the weekly here. So move the fibs over. We can see them a little bit. Big push up past Sniper's Alley. That was a beautiful move right there. And just like I showed on the Bitcoin 4-hour chart, a liquidity sweep. You had a ton of shorts up here. What happened? You got your little spike up and right back down. So that was a liquidity sweep. That nuked all the shorts out of this system here. It really stung them in the face real good one time and told them, hey, you guys better buckle up. I'm not stopping. You better control your emotions because we might have some more fight in our system. So this is a gnarly looking weekly right now. And that mostly is because of today. Today opened up in a very bad way for Zillow and ended up closing just as bad. That gap up on open was not what you wanted to see at all. And that was a rather ugly reversal back down. For now, it looks like it's heading to the 8 EMA. I need to see it hold on to it. So far it has. It's done a lot of this in the back here, but I see a lot of 21 EMA touches. So I'm going to bet that trend continues and we work toward that 821 EMA over here in time. I don't think it's going to get there straight away. It may take a day or 3, but we'll see. A shout out to everybody over on YouTube. Wesley Hart, what's up? Good to see you. Tip Top Weld, how you doing? Charts Can't Lie, good to see you, brother. Marco, what's up? Good to see you. B Dobbs, He said, what's up? Algo. Yeah, we can do Algo. By the way, let me put you guys on the screen here so all your bosses can know that you aren't working. Come
on, man.
I know, dude. So Jill Sandwich, what's up? How you doing? I got Bonk on the list. Sure enough, man. What's up, Dragon? Good to see you. Cycling Cotton says, howdy. What's up, Josh Udall? Good to see you, bro. Jorge Diaz. He said, evening from Scotland. What's up, brother? Good to see you. The land of whiskey. So sweet. Good. Glad you like it here. I'll break out the whiskey when things start going up again, but I can't do it until we see some movement, man. Gotcha, Terry. Got that on there. Appreciate you stopping by. What's up, Elro? Good to see you, bro. What do I say on GLD? Is that gold, do you mean, or is that something else? Anyway, back to it. Zillow's a no for now. Let's go over to AVAX World. That's why you use the screen name? Oh, yeah, well, I'm sorry. Crypto nitty gritty. I'm sorry. Oh, gosh. Sorry about that, Josh, by the way. Cotton Cycling. I'll say it right. I know some of you guys personally, so I say the name sometimes out loud. Whoops. My bad. Anyway, AVAX. Not terrible at all here. I actually rebought, and then added to my position here. Got you. That's XAU, Marco. That's the ticker for gold. And then you got XAG for silver, and then XPT for platinum. So you got a pretty good sweep here. This is why I bought. It broke out. After it broke out, I bought. I added some after it hits the 50, and I added a little bit more on top. As we played around here, it looks like it wants to break out of this big, huge wedge here. The back side of this is if it doesn't break out of this big wedge and it rejects, it's going to reject hard to this 100 and 200 moving averages, right? I don't want to see that happen, but it's fully possible that this thing rejects and falls back down here in the mud. Would love to see it break out, and here's the evidence on why it could. As you see, we got moving average crossings coming up here, right? You also have all three of them kind of balling up in the same area. This, to me, looks like it wants to push this way and at least challenge those moving averages up there, and then we'll see. All right. I don't know that's going to happen immediately, but it does look like it's going to happen to me. This looks like it's got, if I was to flip this upside down, it would be short volume. This looks like it's got decent buy volume to me. The moving averages and RSI, MACD, Pivot, Ichimoku Cloud all point to some more up here. We'll see how much. I give it a $35 cap for now, and then we'll see from there. Maybe it's more than that. I'll play it by ear. I don't know yet. I'd really like to see some wild pushes here, some wild volume come in, but we can't bank on it. We got to be a little bit more careful than, oh yeah, this is it. You know what I mean? But as far as the daily goes, as far as the weekly goes, I like the way it looks. ADA. Let's pull it up on the chart. Cardano. All right. So, hey, what's up from Croatia? Shout out, bro. Marco B. Good to see you, bro. No, you're worried. No problem. I got it. I got the ticker. And shout out everyone else watching. Oh, he says it's easier for us UK guys to watch this. Well, appreciate it. You know, I want more people to watch this. It doesn't really matter who watches it to me, so long as more people see it. That's why I kind of moved the times around a little bit. I really, really liked doing the 11 o'clock stream. But for what it's worth, it's a hard time to get everyone together and get people watching. It just is. So if this makes it better and makes it more, watchable, then that's what I'll do. You know what I mean? It is what it is. We've been doing this Tuesday stream for a while now, and it's been fairly successful. So, Cardano, you've got a really good look here on the weekly. You're over the 50, 8, 21, 100, and 200 moving averages, even after any sell-offs that might happen. You can see that the weekly is playing with the 50 fib here. That's right nice. I like that. Pivot points, beautiful. Beautiful hold of the pivot point right there that I just circled. Love to see that. That's fairly bullish right there, folks. Flipping it to the daily, you got an ugly candle today, but you didn't have an ugly candle the last couple of days. That thing looks like it's got the hook to me, like it wants to go and show some power here. Now, it could just come up here and fail. I got it. I understand that. We could just be doing a sweep. We're going to come up here and do that. Fine. Fine. Make a little short-term cup and handle right here, and then we'll talk about it, right? We'll see. I think that's going to matter what we get on the 17th. I think what we're getting right now is a little bit of pre-market juice for what's coming up at the FOMC. Bulls and bears trying to find their footing before a big announcement happens, because changing monetary policy is one of the few things that you could do to affect charts. You're literally changing every dollar on earth by changing U.S. monetary policy. So, as such, obviously we have to give it weight. We have to give it weight. If they don't cut rates, we also need to understand that backlash could be brutal, and it could push us right down here to these moving averages that sit at about 72 to 74 cents. It would be a brutal kick in the teeth, but it's one that's happened before and one that we absolutely must keep in our minds. Other than that, she's got a pretty decent look here. I mean, all your oscillators are balancing out here. Look at the MACD about to cross up in the green for the first time this month and for the first time since the second week in August. Quite the look. I'm happy to see some improvements. Let's keep it going and see how much farther it can get. All right, that's Cardano. A shout out CryptoStone74. Appreciate the repost. Shout out to Raging Beagle. What's up, brother? Good to see you. What's up, Matoshi? Shout out to Matoshi with the repost. That was a quick one. What's up, Lee Roberts? How you doing? And then cousin Jeremy, you already hit the repost. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Appreciated. That's what we say in the South. Appreciated. Just speed it up. Appreciate it. Makes it sound like we're saying appreciate it, doesn't it? Gotcha. Not really.
Gotcha, bitch.
All right. Chainlink. Yeah, I like to goof off on these live streams, y'all. It kind of makes it more fun for me to do it this way than to be a stiff. Sorry. All right. So, Chainlink got a decent look here started up, right? You got a break over the 821 EMA, but look what come flying in today. Folks, this is a inverse dragonfly doji or a gravestone doji. How does that sound to you? Right. Doesn't sound wonderful, does it? I need to see this improved by the end of the day. That would be lovely. I'd take almost anything better than a gravestone. A spinning top, that's a 50-50. A gravestone, that's not a good look. So what did look pretty good earlier today slowed down some, and it's par for the course. We see a hook happening here, and I'll draw that out for you. You can see a pretty clear trend line here. Pretty clear trend line break too, yeah? But note, she hasn't really flown out with a bunch of volume, so it's a little bit of the market trying to find its footing here, taking a poke in the dark with the stick, see if we hit anything here. It's trying. It hasn't made the big move yet. Ichimoku Cloud still has room here in case this thing wants to jog a little bit. Warning, the lag line is running into the candles, and you are blue under red, so you only have 50-50 out of your Ichimoku Cloud on it, but it has improved some. All right. Here's your RSI. It's fairly nominal and sideways, not much to write home about. And then our MACD, well, you haven't had an upward cross yet, and you're not done with your sell volume quite yet. All this lends me to the thinking that it needs a little longer here to prove itself, a day or three, maybe 4 hours, maybe 72 hours, maybe 3 days. All right. I don't know how many hours, 96 hours, or how many hours, how many hours is 3 days? I already said that, didn't I? 72. Was that right? Yeah. 72 hours is 3 days. We'll see if it makes it happen or not. I'm iffy on a lot of this stuff. Like, it's trying to flip green now. That's great. I'm just iffy on a lot of this stuff, man. We've got a little bit of PTSD from all the fake outs. I don't like getting faked out so much. So I'll give this a day or three to settle itself out. What's up, Killer Smile? Good to see you, Cheese. That's Raclette over in our Discord, one of our moderators, like Matoshi is. Curious if you have any of these. You haven't checked them yet. Take your pick. I've got VET on the list already. CRV, I've already bought and sold a lot. See, we can try to get to some of those. I've got a bunch of requests already. I'll see if I can get to these or not. Hang on. That's RVN. Yeah, we check RVN a lot over in Discord. Zilliqa as well. Raclette was on Zilliqa a couple weeks ago. CRV I made a killing on and already sold it. Hot. Holo chain I haven't seen in forever. And CVC looks just like CRV if I'm not mistaken. And Quant and Velo, I can try to get to those. That's a big ass list, y'all. All right. Damn, that's a lot. Shoo. Well, let's get to the bread and butter of it, shall we? Let's go right on into the good stuff then. XRP.
Damn.
I know. Okay, I know. Is what it is, though. I've already rebought some.
Come on, man.
Bruh.
Whatever, dude. You buy what the market says to buy. You sell what the market says to sell. It doesn't matter what the asset is. I told y'all I'm agnostic to this shit. It could be this asset or another asset. If it looks good, I'm with it. Obviously, I don't want to buy scams, and it gets subjective on what a scam is. This is a top 15. It's a top 5 coin, I believe. Top 5 asset in the crypto world. We have to give it its due for what it is. Money talks. So we're over the 821, and that's why I was a rebuyer. Okay, I don't like that it's under the 50 moving average. That gets a little bit of a for me, but not a full on, just a partial one. You know what I mean? So looking at the oscillators, you're slowly improving here. You can see the hook in the RSI that's trying to improve. Nominal, but trying to improve. MACD, better than what I see on Chainlink. You see that? That's a bullish cross right there. I got some volume finally, and we are now tracking towards the midline, which we have not got to yet, which is right through there, right where it flips from green to red. Excellent. Improvement. Now, obviously, it's a little hung up, right? Can't deny that it's a little hung up at the moment. See if it can fight its way out of the mud here. Might fail short term. Let's see, right? I got a little faith in the market, but not a ton, right? Log or linear, doesn't matter here. You'll see that it's still probably a breakout no matter what. And if I try to do all this in linear, my trend line's gonna have to come down some more so I can catch most of these candles here. And it's still a breakout if you do it that way. So it's an argument to be made in jest, I think. Hold the breakout, right? So far, this green box has held pretty well that I drew that went all the way back, right, to the previous move up that it made. So far, she's holding support. Never hit the 100 moving average. So if it fails this 821 EMA and fails back underneath this trend line, that's the target. That's if that happens. And if that doesn't happen, well, I'm looking back up toward this 3.25 range, and we'll see from there. Now, obviously, there's work to do. This is a sort of a spinner right here, or a tweezer, whatever you want to call it. Either way, this is a sign that we have an order coming up, and we need to break one of these highs and one of these lows right here. And whichever side we close on dictates our direction, right? If we get another candle that's inside this one and it closes even tighter, well, then the next candle after that is going to show us a direction. Until we get some sort of direction with a close up here or a close down here, we won't know exactly what we're getting yet. Some people would say that's an order block candle. Call it what you will. It's all the same kind of thought process. For now, improved it? Yes. Amazed it? No. Better? Yes. Could be worse? Absolutely. Even the pivot line's getting played around with now, as you see there. Much like we saw Chainlink weekly, where it jumped up over the pivot. I want to see that happen here too, right? Come on. Keep fighting. Don't give up. Dig in, and let's hold some support here for a change, all right? I got high hopes for XRP. Y'all know my targets are still the same. Haven't changed in that and haven't wavered from that. Could it be a little lower targets? Well, possibly, but we'll talk about that as we get there. Let's see if we get some cuts from old Uncle Jerome. We'll talk about it again on Thursday and reassess the situation. You know what I mean? Might be different. Might be different in 2 days, right? We'll keep watching. All right. Make sure. All right, sweet. So that one's done. Virtuals. Already had this one on the list. Was asked that in the Discord by someone in a DM. Said, hey man, can you check out virtual? I said, why don't you say that in public? I don't talk much in public. Me neither, dude. I don't even like people. But here I am. All right, so good sign. I like that we've jumped over the pivot line here. If you're wondering what a pivot line is, we can go down the indicators here and type in pivot points standard. And they update, so there's many of them, right? I've got my favorites right here. And I keep them right there. Pivot point standard, right? There's many of them, though. You can pick the one you want. That's the one I like. We have custom indicators in our Discord already with all this stuff kind of combined in it, so it saves you spaces on TradingView, and you end up saving money. Check it out. It's at wop.com/team786 right down below. All right? You get these indicators all kind of packaged together. Saves space and saves room. Nonetheless, it's a signal for more bullish or more bearish. Over the pivot line, more bullish. Under or bearish. You just saw XRP was playing around with it. Virtuals is above it, and it's made a hell of a move over the last couple of days here to break loose like this. I love it. You cannot argue about the breakout that you see right here. Like to see that breakout. That's good. Note that we have another one to deal with over here. All right, let's not get super ahead of ourselves. I don't like the fact that it's getting tangled up with two moving averages at once. Like to see it get over the hump here and hang on and not give up slack after making that big push. Maintain your levels, right? Matter of fact, get over these levels instead of breaking them. And it hasn't quite done that yet. This shows me it might have a little bit of weakness in it before it has any more power. And that doesn't mean a ton of weakness. I mean some back tests and breakouts, right? Not the end of the world. Hasn't quite gotten through the mud just yet, but it is much improved. And you're about to get an 821 EMA cross. I think it's only a matter of time before we see some gains from it, though. So I'm going to give this an in-between. I'm going to get a star for this one because it's like an in-between. Yes, an in-between no. All right. Let's do VET. Mark these off as I do them here. All right. VET, similar story as what I just showed you with virtuals, right? On a smaller scale, a little bit tighter scale. Same thing happens. She bumped her head into the 50 and the 200 moving average at the same time. And so far, she's thrown red. Okay, it's not the end of the world. Again, you have another order block candle. What you going to do here? Are you going to hang on to this? Are you going to roll over and quit? You're going to break out and run? What you going to do? Look at the Bollinger Bands. They're getting tighter. All right, they're coming this way, and you got this one slowly working up. These Bollinger Bands are going to start to squeeze over the next couple of days. As they start to squeeze, you guys know what's going to happen. We're going to get volatility. We're going to get a break one way or the other. And it all kind of points right to old Uncle Jerome telling us what we're going to get. Telling us what we're going to get. You know what I mean? I don't have a number one dragon. These are none of them are my number ones. All these heifers are not loyal to me. I am not loyal to these heifers. My wife is the number one. That's about it. Everybody else, everything else, especially assets. Meh. I love my truck. Gotta throw that out there too. Love my truck. But no, you're fighting the pivot line on this one. I'd like to see it over it. Yeah, not as good as what we have seen. And if I throw in the Ichimoku cloud, you'll see she's not quite there. Right? That needs to jump the cloud. It hasn't done that yet, but it very well may over the next couple of days. Let's please monitor this one very closely. Bonk. We'll bust through these now. We got 10 minutes left. 10-minute time limit. All right. Hey, shout out to X. We got almost 500 people watching over on X. Combine that with YouTube and Rumble, we'll be way over 500. Shout out to all you guys watching on a Tuesday afternoon, dude. On a Tuesday afternoon. I don't know that song. Doesn't matter. Why are you singing on a live stream? Who knows, dude? It's a beautiful day. I don't feel too bad today. I don't know why. You know, these big valleys and ups and downs and all this shit that come along with it, dude. Sometimes you're just like, just relax. Bob Marley that shit for a minute. It's going to be all right. Everything will be all right. Anyway, pivot line for Bonk, same situation. She's a little hung up. All right. Over the moving averages, I like that. But you got the 50 moving average still kind of bearing down here. Playing a little bit hooky. Kind of pushing us back in the mud. As far as the Ichimoku cloud goes, you're still 4 out of 4 no on that one. I bet the oscillators have improved. And they have. Yeah, MACD has started to turn up here. They're not going to let me do an auto on it. No, it isn't. Oh my God. There we go. Just put it that way. Yeah, she's got a pretty hefty sweep in her right there, but she is trying to fight back. I like to see that. I like to see the sweep. Got several good volume bars here. Good for it. In the RSI, you can clearly see that it's got over the previous highs on the RSI. And anything here is just more of a buying opportunity than it is a big, massive sell-off or short opportunity. It's a pretty good spot. I like it jumping those moving averages. She's close. And if you're going by just those, it's actually a pretty good spot. I would be leery of things like the Ichimoku cloud and the pivot, but I think those are short-term conclusions. You know what I mean? I think for now, she's probably got a decent look on her hands. XDC. So we looked at XDC last week, and let's pull it up again. The breakout still on here. You can see it right there. It's pretty clear and obvious. Breakout. Love it. All right. Now you got 50 moving average pressing down. You've got the 821 EMA slowly turning up here, trying. You haven't closed 2 over the 8 EMA yet, but it's so close. It did pull off a really wicked doji candle yesterday on Monday. Look at that. Come down and tested the trend. Here's the thing. This seems like a lot of these have more upside than downside. So that becomes a good risk to take in theory, right? So it's trying, and it looks like it wants to do something, but it's having a hard time getting going just yet. All right, weekly wise, you're playing with the wait a minute zone here. As far as the pivot goes, you're way over it. It's way down here. You can see it down there. It's way down there, so it's literally no effect at all on the market for it. What about the Ichimoku cloud on the weekly? She's still stuck under that. So like I said, it kind of puts a little bit of a damper on what we're looking at, that this stuff could act as a big speed bump. At the same time, if we get over this, well, there's nothing to stop it. So keep it in mind. I like the breakout, and I think there's still a good solid opportunity here. Here's the MACD on the weekly. You can see we've rolled over into red. This would be a good opportunity for this thing to flip that back into green. And if I look at the daily MACD, you'll see we've got several volume bars in a row. We do have an upward cross, which is good. And then our RSI, it is clearly improving. Clearly, you can see this here. You have, you know what we got here? This is bullish divergence, everybody. It's a great example. All right, it's a great example. Why do I say it's a great example? Well, what I'm showing you on the RSI right here. There we go. What I'm showing you on the RSI here is a rising strength. This is RSI, Relative Strength Index, RSI. It has a rising strength, all while price is either sideways or down. And it's clearly sideways right now. What this shows is an underlying strength in the background. There's more strength in the background than it shows on the price. That's typically bullish. This gives me an idea to go buy some. So I'm going to keep a very close eye on XDC for the next several days. And really, I'm probably going to start watching 4-hour candles on it because I want to lock in and get a really good price if I'm going for it. So keep your eyes on this one. I really like this setup, but I want one little bit more proof. All right. PBW. Build-A-Bear Workshop. Terry was... damn.
Bruh. Come on, man.
My fault, Crypto Nitty Gritty. We were talking about this one before. He was like, I guess everybody needs a bear. But look at Build-A-Bear. Holy crap, dude. Look at that TradeFi. They're not having a terrible time over there. Look at Build-A-Bear. Fellas, I need you guys to cut it out a little bit. Because, bro, how many bears do you need? Wow. That's a hell of a chart. 821 up, all moving averages up. Those are useless. Ichimoku cloud, yep, those are all green. Pivot points, ha, you're over R3. How about the monthly chart? Yeah, hashtag Shigon. RSI, sky high on the monthly. Weekly, sky high. Daily, sky high. You would think there'd be some sell-offs up here, some take profits up here, but I really hate to tell anybody to run from a killer, and this thing just keeps on printing. For now, she's still not a sell-off. Isn't that incredible? If you want to take profits, that's one thing. I get it. But this still isn't even a sell-off. It's really, really, really impressive. All right, I'm actually over 5 minutes. Let's kick this into overdrive real fast. Algo. I got to go get the kids from football. Algorand, you have improved. Sorry. It seems like there are no bears. That's funny. Algorand's improved. You've jumped the 8 EMA. You're working on your second candle closed over the 8 EMA. I like it building a base. I like it over the 100 moving average. That's a good improvement. Now get through and show me you're ready to go. I've already bought some Algorand. I just told everybody I did that. There you go. Gold. Oh, shit. What am I doing? Oh, gold. Yeah, gold's still ripping. She ran all the way up. We talked about this yesterday morning on our weekly roundup. She ran all the way to the 1414. Extremely impressive push. Now playing with the 1272 fib like it wants to go a little bit more. Bit of a hesitation at the moment. Let's see how much more power she's got. Daily has slowed up. It's a really gnarly candle on that daily. But again, it's still way up and still showing power. Is it a sell-off? Not necessarily. Is it a take profits? Yes. Baby steps. This thing's been killing it, though. I mean, it's been absolutely killing it. RVN. Raven Coin. So here we go. She's trying to break the 200 right now. She's got 2 candles over the 8 EMA if it closes here today. She's fighting the 21 as well. You do have the 50 moving average bearing down, kind of giving it a hard cap. It's fell off so hard, right? Weekly, you're still under the 821. Be careful. Caution on that, right? Cautious optimism here with this one. RSI, you are tracking upwards somewhat, but it still hasn't really broken loose. And MACD, you have curled up and you do got some good volume. Better than bad, but be careful. Zeal. This is speedball right here, bro. All right, so hey, look at there. Zilliqa has broken the 8, 21, 50, and 100 moving average. Now pressed into the 200. Last hurdle to jump, like VET. Can it get through this, or is it going to reject? One more Playboy up there, and she's at the party, all right? I like the move off of the pivot line right there. That's not bad. Let's see, Ichimoku Cloud. You haven't necessarily improved a ton, but you are pressed into it now. Maybe it's time for Zillow to finally show up. It has been a horrible ride on the Zillow train thus far. Finally would be an understatement. CRV. All right, so weekly CRV continues its slowdown, but if we flip over to the daily, I already took profits multiple times up here. It's a lot like Algorand where it's trying to build a base right here. Okay, cool. In order to prove it, I need you to break out. You could argue that it has not broken out. This will be the second close over the 8 EMA with a decent base forming. Can't deny that. RSI and MACD are trying to improve. Cannot deny that. You are not over the pivot line. You are 4 out of 4 no on the Ichimoku Cloud. So again, like Algorand, cautious optimism. Hot Holo chain. Hadn't done this one in a minute. But it's going to be the same sentiment. You've got a wedge formed. You haven't quite broken out yet, but it looks like it wants to. RSI sideways. It's no help. MACD is turned up very aggressively. Pivot point, you're right at the pivot point, bouncing off of it. That's more bearish. And the Ichimoku Cloud still 4 out of 4 no. So this one's a tweener. It's not worth the risk for me if it was my money. I need a less risk on that one. CVC, same story here. Big consolidation. It's very close. You could even argue that that is breaking out. It's still under all the moving averages, but it has an 821 2 over situation after today. If it closes here, still under the pivot, be careful. I do think that's a breakout. It looks positive. Ichimoku Cloud, you're 4 out of 4 no, but I like the improvement on this one. I like to chart it a little farther. So I'll put a check mark beside it so I can check on it later. 2 more Quant. All right, here's Quant on the weekly. It's still a no there. Daily, looks like you're failing most everything, almost back to the 200 moving average. That looks like a lock at $96. RSI and MACD are still trailing off. No help there. No help for the RSI. So this one, for me, for now, is a no. Last one, Velo. And this is the OG Velo with the pink logo. All right. Bought and sold this one many times this run. I haven't rebought it. I bought other stuff. I like the fact that she's jumped the 821 and is trying to break the 200, but it's pressed into the 50 and the 100 for now. Rejecting off so far, not quite ready. Pivot point in the way. Ichimoku cloud in the way. A lot like some other ones. You've seen some improvement, but not enough improvement for government work. Thank you all for that 50 minutes of work. That goes by very, very quickly, doesn't it? I sure the hell think it does. I like the way charts are starting to show some life here. They're starting to show some fight. Are they perfect? No. Are they improving? Yes. Are we seeing some moves finally happen? Yes. Are we going to get rate cuts? Maybe we don't know. Please take in everything I said today and kind of help yourself into learning a little bit more about the way monetary policy works and how it affects our real lives. The decisions these people make affects hundreds of thousands of lives, and not just by money. All right, it's more than that. So thank you all for watching. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to be here with me. I appreciate that a ton. Thank you. Thank you. Make the best of your todays the worst of your tomorrows, okay? Let's have a better day yesterday than we had today. And last but not least, if nobody else has told you today, Keith will tell you Keith loves you. All right? Y'all be good, man. I'll see y'all Thursday, same time, 4 p.m., same channel right here. I'm out. Sky's the limit.